Hey friends, welcome to Sassy AF TV Season 2, Episode 13, How to Thrive in the New Normal. In the face of the COVID-19 pandemic, I decided to bring you this week's interview right after recording it. As a note, everyone at Sassy Healthy Fit is sending love and well wishes to you, and we are hoping you are watching or listening to this interview in good health. Please continue to stay home and take care of you each day. This week's interview is with Lois Koffi, a public speaker and business coach who has gone from losing everything to rebuilding an empire. You will hear Lois's story of losing her business and becoming homeless during the Great Recession of 2008. She was then able to make some major mindset shifts to change her lifestyle and truly create a life she wanted, full of love, happiness, and success. Lois and I want to offer you some tactics to improve your mindset that you can start implementing right now as we are all adjusting to the new normal of quarantine life and staying at home. Please note that while this is a serious topic, we also wanted to bring some uplifting energy to the interview because that is how we roll as sassy AF women. As Lois says, the most important thing is for us to come from a place of love and kindness. Thank you for being here with us. Here we go. Welcome back to Sassy AF TV and the Sassy AF audio experience. I'm Hallie Avolio, and I'm so excited to be here with my special guest today, Lois Koffi. Lois, welcome to the show. I'm so glad that you're here today.
Awesome. Excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, me too. We're right in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic, and we're both working from home with our kids here. So I'm excited to shed some light on how we can create this workflow, this balance, this new normal that we're talking about. And one of my favorite things about you, Lois, from the time we first met some months ago through a mutual friend, is that you have so much energy, so much creativity, and you have such an interesting story that I feel like you were made to rock this current life situation and to teach others how to do so as well. So tell us about yourself, tell us a little bit about your story, and then we'll get into some nitty-gritty details on how everybody can really thrive and be successful right now, especially.
Well, first of all, thank you. I'm very humbled by those kind words, and it's actually very bittersweet in a lot of ways. I was reflecting on some of what you said this past week when everybody felt like, the sky is falling. We're shelter in place. California was one of the first states to do that. So we've been home, Hallie, a couple weeks. Yeah. You and I both celebrated our kids' March birthdays virtually, and those hearts are, a little saddened by not being able to see their friends in person and to give them hugs and play games, and so there's all these things that have been going on mentally and emotionally for me as well. I was raised in Midwest and before the internet, right? I didn't have email until college. Right. I didn't have a cell phone until I think 1999. So I was always a networker, always a face-to-face, belly-to-belly person. So it was really an interesting time when the real estate crash happened, the recession, the Great Recession, as they call it, back in 2006, 7, and 8. And as we head into a recession here and now, it's like I'm having a lot of deja vu. Yep. And I was highly successful in real estate for several years. Right out of college, I was making 6 figures, working part-time. I've always been kind of a freak about time management. I think it's because I grew up on a farm, and my dad was always like, these are your chores, here's your piano lessons, get ready for school, get on the bus. It was like everything was so regimented. And it was almost like the military. I even thought about the military for like 2 seconds and fell into sales instead because I love people. I'm a people person. I'd from morning until night, I'd be running with my running club. I'd be out there, showing homes. And then, of course, the world stopped as we knew it. And I actually had a sales team. I had a mortgage company. I had business partners. I had full-time salaried employees. When the faucet turned off really, really hard, I was in Phoenix, Arizona at the time, and nobody saw it coming, just like this pandemic. And literally almost overnight, it felt like it was overnight, but really over about 6 to 8 months, I lost everything. I had to let go of my employees. I lost 3 investment properties, 3 foreclosures. I luckily sold my primary residence and essentially was bouncing around on floors, futons, guest bedrooms, couches of friends who, we were all kind of like, oh my God, what's happening? And so I moved out to Southern California at that time because heck, if you're homeless, you might as well live in California, right?
I guess. It is warm here.
Right? But anyway, I came out here because my brother is out here and I slept on his floor for 3 months and just kind of like, now what? I had my bank accounts cleaned out. My business partner had a major death in the family and skipped town and the creditors were all coming after me. And I even had my car repossessed the day before my 30th birthday. And in my mind, I was expecting to be a millionaire by my 30th birthday. So I had to make a massive mindset shift. I had to find coaches and mentors and realize that I made, not so much mistakes. It's just I wasn't prepared for what happened. And so I could only afford my internet bill and my landline bill. I couldn't even afford a cell phone at that point in time. And I started working from home. Prior to that, I hadn't worked from home. I always had an office to go to. So I'm saying all this because I think a lot of people might be able to relate to at least some of it. Maybe not the homeless part, but there's been over 3 million job layoffs already. And a lot of people, their businesses are being shut down and, it's painful to watch, but I'm here to offer hope and share my story. And so through that process, I started doing teleseminars. I started doing things online. This was before Zoom existed. And I started monetizing the internet. I started doing, I called it telecoaching on the teleseminar line. Then I actually created a college course during that time that I'm still monetizing to this day. I had one of the first online college courses allowed for MBA students at Concordia University in Irvine. And it was also during that time that I met the man of my dreams, my best friend, my life partner, and we decided to start a family. So through that process, I shifted to also working from home, being a stay-at-home mom. So I learned a lot during that time. And I also learned not to put all my eggs in one basket. I've worked on multiple streams of income since then in different industries, because before I had put all my eggs, even though I had 3 streams of income and they were all real estate related. And then I've always been working with coaches and mentors and people who are building 6 to 7 figure incomes, or they have that already, and learning and gleaning from them. And so, like you said, it's a bittersweet thing to admit, but it was because of all of that, 2006, 2007, 2008, which were in a lot of ways kind of duplicating right now, that you're absolutely right. I was able to get used to doing things from a distance, because when all you have is a bicycle to get around, back then when my car was repossessed, I got used to Skype, and I was on the phone smiling and dialing and meeting people on Facebook. Facebook was just being born at that time, and meeting people on LinkedIn. And so everything that I learned right then is what I've been doing for the past 11 or 12 years.
That's amazing. I mean, that story is really inspirational, and I've heard you share that previously. And I'm so thankful for you sharing that and offering that hopeful situation, because as you know, and you've lived, we can always take our experience and our opportunities and transform them into something greater than we had previously. But sometimes, to somebody listening to this show right now, they might be thinking, yeah, that's not great for her, but it's not for me. I can't do it. I don't feel motivated. I feel sad. I feel discouraged. I don't know where my job's going to come from. I don't know where my next paycheck's going to come from. And we can easily go down that rabbit hole, right? We can easily go down that rabbit hole of desperation and depression and negativity. And I think one thing that you and I share, Lois, in particular, is our overall positive mindset and always this optimistic view of the world, despite awful situations. But what I'd love to talk to you about and go a little deeper on is, what were the tactics that you used, your personal mindset shifts, when you were in that destitute place. You were homeless. You had your car repossessed. You didn't have any, you had to lay off all your employees. I mean, I can imagine that put you in a really hard space personally. So how did you start to shift into this, positive space where you started to become much more productive and efficient and really pick yourself up out of that hole?
It's a great question. Gosh, that's a lot to kind of, process and to be able to share. I think for me, I was lucky. Number one, I didn't have a TV. I didn't have any news stations to watch. So I was actually I protected my mindset without even knowing it. To be honest with you, I just never watched TV. So that would be my tip. Number one is the overwhelm that I feel and that energy, that kind of negative overriding dark cloud. Mm-hmm. A lot of it is coming from the information overwhelm that we're receiving in Facebook. And I think in some social media platforms are just as easy to blame for that, I think. And I also, even though Facebook was brand new, I didn't do a lot of, hanging out on social media. So step number one is guard your mind, guard your heart, and fuel it with really, really positive things. A lot of times we use our cell phone as our alarm. Back then I used my watch. And the first thing I did when I got up was I meditated. I fueled, I put a lot of good stuff in. I went for a run. I know you and I are both into fitness. All of those are immunity boosting things as well, which is really important right now. But then I went right to work. Because I was a running coach in a past life, and because I was also a real estate agent, because I always had with me in both professions a clipboard.
I love it.
So I'll start my day. I have my own, and I'm willing to send this out for free for anyone if anybody wants it. I call it my daily compass and guide. I literally, and science has proven this, all the greats, Zig Ziglar, Jim Rohn, sales trainers, extraordinaires, Tony Robbins, to reflect and put things on paper and spend about 14 to 20 minutes every morning just committing to mentally and on paper. I suppose you can use an app. There's apps and stuff like that, but I prefer the paper because if I use an app or something on my computer, guess what? I'm going to fall prey to social media apps and all these other things. So I really love to write down my day and block times for what I call my big rocks. Those are the things that, like, no matter what, for me, that would be meditation. How am I feeling my mind, my body, my spirit? I love talking about balance. And even though a lot of people don't believe in balance, I do believe that there is a version of balance for each one of us that we have got to find, or we will have a nervous breakdown. And it'd be easy then to get sucked back into the media, the TV, the situation. And the last little nugget that really helped me during the recession that I still use to this day, and you can read the book if you want, but I don't know if you guys remember back then, Oprah Winfrey was just really emerging as this giant that everyone was tuning into because of the recession. And she did an online series, an interview series with Eckhart Tolle and his book, The Power of Now. Mm-hmm. And just really, being with this moment, not, fear and anxiety and depression. A lot of it comes from thinking about and worrying about the future and living in the past. And you can't enjoy this present moment and truly just be. And that was something that really resonated with me. Obviously, I'm still talking about it to this day. And that's where, again, reflecting on my day in the morning and at night before I go to bed, and just gratitude and whatever it's prayer, meditation, whatever your things, your mantras, it's all perfect for you. And just really making sure that you take one day at a time. But have a coach, have a support person, have a mentor, have a community also to help you keep going. Because I do believe no one succeeds alone, especially during times like these. I think I had at least 2, if not 3 coaches and mentors in my life at that time that helped keep me going.
Absolutely. Well, I love that you bring in the things that you said that are striking a chord with me. Not only the mindfulness practices of the the reality of doing the meditation and doing the physical fitness, right, to keep your body fueled, and to do the journaling or writing down, whether it's your tasks or your open thought process or whatever it is that you're writing down, right, to just work through what's in your mind on a daily basis. And being in the moment. Also, what I love said is that whatever works for you is perfect. As in, whatever works for Lois is perfect, and whatever works for Hallie is perfect, and whatever works for you in the audience is also perfect, and they can be 100% different, and that's totally fine.
Yes.
So I think that those are really great strategies that you are suggesting that truly everyone can do. We just have to make the choice that we want to do them, right? I mean, part of the thing about mindset is you have to make the choice in this present moment.
Well, and can I tell you one more thing that I think is important for people to hear? Even though I did all those things, it took me about 3 to 5 years to really master them all. And as a result of, we'll call it subconscious mind, self-sabotage, I did go through pretty extreme depression, anxiety, suicidal thoughts. I manifested an autoimmune disease because of past trauma that surfaced during that moment, that Great Recession moment. So there's so much I could teach you that I've learned about that and ever since then, but especially because this pandemic is impacting immune systems and fear and trauma that comes from it can come up. You just really, really, really want to take heed to what I'm saying and take action sooner rather than later. Because, there's a lot of stuff that can come from this that you've got to work through over time. It's not an overnight success thing.
Thank you for sharing that. And that is reality, right? I was talking to my mom last night about this, and we were hearing that it is scary, and we all have a lot of fears, and some people have more fears than others, and that's valid. And we process the fear, anxiety, and how we call upon those people in our community, whether it's a coach, an individual mentor, a couple of best friends, your family, whomever it is that you can call on, right? And also the tools that we have internally that we know give us strength and give us support and give us solace when we're in these moments. Because I just last night, I was laying in bed feeling anxious, and then I had to do some breath work and remind myself, these are the things I can control, and these are the things I have power over, and these are the things that I don't. And I have to be accepting of that. And it's going to be okay. And reassuring myself and using, the affirmations and whatnot to get myself through the process. And I'm sure you're experiencing the same thing.
Yeah, I definitely had. Yesterday was my first day out of these 2 weeks since the kids have been home that I did feel a little stir crazy. So, and it was hysterical. Funny story, true story. The winery that I'm a member of, they actually called and said, "Hey, we're doing free delivery." And I was like, no, this is not the time for me to drink a bunch of wine.
I know, I keep thinking about that. I'm like, oh man, are we going to come out of this with more problems? I hope not.
Absolutely. Not. Well, this is the time to recast or start a vision. If you haven't started a vision board, now is the time. Just start journaling and write that 3, 5, 7, 10-year vision. This is a time, I think, I get excited. This is a time for people to truly dream and reflect and question themselves and say, am I doing what I love? And am I passionate about this? And can you learn new skills? Can you create a podcast like what you're doing? Can you create something new that you do it once, but it'll pay you for the rest of your life? That's exciting to me.
Absolutely. So let's talk about kids, because a lot of the people that are listening to this are parents. And this is particularly probably relevant almost more for dads than for moms, because more dads are probably from home now and experiencing their kids coexisting and doing some version of online learning while the mom and dads are trying to work, etc. And I know you and your husband have done this for a long time, pre-COVID-19, pre-pandemic, etc. Mm-hmm. So I would love to know if you have any tips to offer on because I know another area that you really specialize in, Lois, is focus, right? and really maximizing the time that you have so that you can have this balance and this time with your kids and this time with your work and still make money, et cetera. So what tips can you offer for people that are now having work from home in a new environment and coexist with their kids so that work can still get done and everyone can still feel like they're being productive and getting along, right? That's a challenge right now.
Oh yeah, this is a great time to manifest some great communication skills, to manifest great leadership skills. Even if you have been an employee for a company and you just got laid off, or you're working from home, you are a leader. And your kids need you to be a leader right now and to take care of yourself first. So that's number one is the parents still got to find the time to exercise, meditate, all the things we've been talking about, and have a family meeting. If you're a single mom or a single dad, I was raised by a single dad. I married a single dad. There's a lot of people out there in different family situations. So I just want to honor all of those situations. But the most important thing is no matter how old the kids are, just have a family meeting, have a sit down conversation. And I would show it to you. It's across the room right now. I'm not going to grab it, but we even have a white marker board. And I know I learned this from my sister. She's my oldest sibling. She's 16 years older than me. She has 5 children and she was a stay-at-home mom.
Super mom.
And I saw her on her, like one whole wall was like what was it? I can't think. It was a board that she was able to just write everything on, like this was this person's chores, that person's chores. And so that stuck with me. And my husband and I, we have built a life where we both work from home so we can have a laptop lifestyle so we can travel the world a lot, which isn't happening right now. But so we've practiced. So we have practiced all of this. What I'm telling you has worked great for us. Okay. So we have a white marker board that has their schedule. It's like their own version of my clipboard, so that they know every hour on the hour. You can even use Alexa to remind you or set timers on your phone. But we had that meeting where we said, okay, this 8 to 9 is going to be reading class. 9 to 10 is going to be this. And every school is different too. So I don't know about the distance learning situations, but here in San Diego, we didn't really get a whole lot of direction on that. So we just created our own time management schedule because we know without structure, just like school is structured, as adults, if you go to a job, you had some form of structure, right? As a business owner, I teach this, an ideal model work week with all of my clients. So my kids are like mini clients, they're like, okay, we're going to do this. We're going to do this. This is recess. This is playtime. Now we're excited. We're going to teach them French, things that they weren't learning at school. So this combination of, oh my gosh, this is what a great opportunity, and positioning the mindset, right? Saying what a great opportunity this is. Because we've actually talked about homeschooling. We didn't do that before this. So now we get to practice. But really just making sure we had that meeting. We talked about, hey, there's going to be times where we're going to have to shift in life. And this is actually, I'm excited. My kids are learning this at such a young age. Because I know I was left to fend for myself, when I was a kid. And so this is great leadership skills for you as a parent. Great skills to teach your children that are going to make them, I think, better, stronger, faster than any of us could have imagined ourselves being. And so we have our moments, and we my husband and I, if you're a single parent, you got to shift and move and maybe ask for help, ask for support. But I know a lot of single parents are actually probably built for this in some way too, because you just got to have a lot of respect, a lot of good communication and boundaries. And if someone needs time, go for a walk. If someone's having a moment, allow them to be in that moment and show love and respect and for each other. Because there could be a lot of stressed out families, a lot of arguments, and we just got to remember to come from a place of love and kindness and see the greatness in that other being, no matter how young or old they are, and just talk it out, hug it out, because we can still hug, right? We're in close confined quarters, and just have open communication about it. That's the most important thing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. What what are some of your tips that works in your family for getting buy-in from your kids? And maybe with your employees too, maybe this is something that you've dealt with, in a professional setting as well over the years. Because it's one thing to say, yeah, this is the schedule, this is how it works. But as we all know, it doesn't always work when you're just like, boom, here's the clipboard, go, right? That doesn't work for everybody. So how do you create a sense of buy-in and ownership for each person, whether it's your family or your employees?
That's a good point. We've created some opt-in, if we want to learn some other skill, if we want to change the schedule, again, it all comes down to communication and asking for what you want and being open and respectful. We've been fortunate. Maybe our kids haven't had too many issues, again, because it still starts with mindset and communication. And you could say to them, well, hey, what if you don't want to study this right now? What would you like to learn? And empowering them to have their voice be heard, and everything's a negotiation. Yeah. Everything's a negotiation. And so I think it's a great time to let the kids actually share what they want. And as far as employees and people working remotely, I think depending on each person's situation, I've had more of my sales teams coming online than ever before, because they're hungry for that connectivity. They're hungry for encouragement and inspiration and motivation. So if you're a leader of a sales team that I'm speaking to right now, or you have employees, do more touches, do more check-in phone calls, do more webinars, do a virtual happy hour. I did that last week with my team, and we felt so much love and so much connectivity and so much joy. Take the business hat off for a moment and just have real conversations like, how are you? Or, if your spouse got laid off, there's going to be a lot of people worried about money and finances, so encouraging, helping them ideate and get creative and finding other streams of income, right now. That's something that I learned from the recession, and I'm so grateful. So just open, honest communication, making it about the person's situation, and maybe some more one-on-one time and more team fun can make it much more enjoyable for everyone.
Absolutely. And back to your point earlier about leadership, right? Be the leader. And one of my favorite, a moment in my childhood, actually, I was in the youth group when I was in high school, and one of the girls that was maybe a year older than me, she was the president of our youth group for a little bit. And I remember that she had us follow this philosophy of lead by example. And we just called it LBE. And that's always stuck with me, that you just example, and by doing and without saying, here's what I'm doing, but literally just doing, other people observe. And I know that you do this and I do this. And when your children, for example, or your employees, children or otherwise, actual employees or children employees, however you want to look right now, right? If they observe that you're leading by example, you're living your truth, you're doing the things, I need you to do this right now. I need you to go run around outside. I need you to do X, but you yourself, ownership and doing the things, and they doing that, you're leading by example, and therefore giving that buy-in, that good communication. So I think everything that you're speaking about just exemplifies that leadership that you were highlighting.
Well, one of my quotes is, and this is what I teach my kids, and maybe that's, again, I don't assume anything, but I know our kids are always watching us, right?
Always.
So yes. I've always worked for myself as long as they've been alive. And so they see mommy working, and they see mommy doing, and they see mommy loving and being a leader. And I always tell them, a leader of one can be a leader of many. If you can't lead one, meaning yourself, you can't lead any. So people are always watching us. People are watching them. I've instilled that in them so that they understand that. I think that's really helped them to assemble into this and adjust. They're still, sad and missing their friends, and we're doing everything we can to do Zooms, and House Party is a great app. If you haven't found it, I recommend it.
I love that one.
Yep, House Party is popular. So our kids.
Put that in the show notes. What is it?
It's just an app where you literally, I get notifications where people they're on live, and you can just all of a sudden, you can 5, 6, 7, 8 of you can be on the screen all together at once and
cool.
having a party in your house.
That's fun. I like it. See, we're all getting creative here. I mean, that's, I think, what the key is. I mean, to everything that you've said, come at it from a place with love, lead yourself by living the best life possible, communicate with one another, right? Yes, this is a challenging time for everybody for a variety of reasons, and everybody's reasons are going to be a little bit different. And at the end of the day, we have to be able to step up and do the things we can to still keep going with our life and make it as, productive and as positive and as loving, really. Well, because at the end of the day, that's what it comes down to, in my opinion.
100%. 100%. This is, again, I can't say it enough. I'm excited about this time and really want people to emerge out of it like the rising of the phoenix from the ashes. There's definitely, I have empathy and compassion for where people are at. And if there's anything I can do to help, I'm here for you guys.
I love that. Well, I know there's so many more things that we could talk about, Lois, and I would love to have you on another time, really dive into your sales background. You teach people to really crush it from a business perspective, because I think there's so much value to that. But for today's conversation, I think you added so much value about how we can just shift our perspective and our mindset right now while we're all experiencing this shelter in place, this staying at home, and just really experiencing this throughout the world, and how we can best manage ourselves and our families and our health and our business and all of the things, all of the parts of our life. So you shed so much light and so much love on the topic. And I think a lot of practical ways that people can start implementing, right now, and just starting to even micro shifts in their mind to get them to a more place. So I thank you for that.
You're so welcome. My pleasure.
Yeah. Well, before we share where everybody can connect with you and find you, because I want them to have that opportunity, I love to ask my favorite last question, which is, what is making you feel sassy, especially right now when you're staying at home?
Say that one more time, because you broke up a little bit. What?
Oh, okay. What is something that makes you feel sassy?
Oh my gosh. Well, it's so funny, because when I was growing up, my stepmom always called me that. She's like, "You're so sassy." And so I don't know if there's any one thing that can make me feel that way, but just being able to help someone. I know maybe that sounds a little weird, but I get so excited when I can ideate and mastermind with someone and lift their spirits. And, that gets me to be my true, authentic, sassy self. So I'll say that.
That's beautiful. It's perfect. So tell us, where can we find you? We can connect with you so that you can help make, increase your own sassiness and help other people feel as amazing as I know you can make them feel.
Sure. Well, I have a YouTube channel. I would love to have people follow me there. Just find me, Lois Koffi. I also have my website, loiskoffi.com. That's where I have a lot of inspiration and free sources. And I also have a blog called increasedsalesresults.com. That's where it showcases every single week. I have a free webinar on exactly the different things that I'm learning and sharing with people for free. No strings attached. Just come and learn, come as you are on Zoom, and learn how to work from home, how to monetize, how to grow that mindset, and just keep moving the ball forward. So those are probably my best free resources and easiest ways to find me.
Great. Well, I'll make sure to include both of those websites and the YouTube channel link so anybody can find you there. So I just want to thank you for being here today. Thank you for sharing your wisdom, your light, your love, your leadership. There's so much that we're all experiencing right now. And the more conversations I think that we can have like this, the better, so that we can start adjusting to this new normal that I know is going to be probably a lot longer than any of us originally anticipated. Mm-hmm. And we're going to get to it. But in the meanwhile, we need to, strengthen up and just working on our mindset and working on our positivity and connecting and communicating and being leaders, like you said. So thank you, and wishing you and your family all the health and love and happiness.
Thank you. And happy birthday to your kids, belated.
And to yours.
Thank you.
For being here, and thank you for watching or listening to the Sassy AF audio experience and Sassy AF TV. We will see you next week with another fun interview. Have a great day. Bye.
Bye-bye.
There were so many nuggets I took away from this conversation with Lois. As an eternal optimist, I love how she talks about using this time to recast your vision and truly dream and reflect and question about what makes you happy and feel fulfilled. There is no time like the present, and I do hope you will start dreaming about creating a life you truly love. Thanks again for being here and tuning in for another episode of Sassy AF TV. It would mean the world to me if you would leave a comment and take a screenshot to share it with your tribe on Instagram or Facebook. Don't forget to tag me at Sassy Healthy Fit. Then make sure to head over to sassyhealthy.fit and sign up for our mailing list so you always know the latest and greatest in sassy fun. See you next time.